My apologies go out to everybody who knows better than to do the type of things that I'm talking about. I'm just going to say that right up front. I saw a video on Tommy Sotomayor's channel where he's talking about a man who beat an 8-year-old to death with a hammer because the 8-year-old was trying to stop him from raping his 4-year-old sister. And to top that off, there's a video going around now where a 12-year-old, the boy, I just found out the boy is actually African American. He's biracial, but he's still considered black. He was punched in the face because it looks like he may have been mouthing off or being aggressive towards an adult white male. Now, I'm talking about both of these topics together because I said in the video where I made that was just about the boy who was punched and lost his two front teeth, that sometimes parents will bring martial arts instructors their kids and they'll go, please help me with this boy, help me with this girl even. Yes, girls too. Because they're getting into fights or, help me. I can't control this child. Can you help me with this child? That's why we're putting them in your class. It's not just me. This is something that we just get. And like I said, my own mother, I think, was doing a little bit of that with me too when she found out that martial arts is supposed to have the benefits of helping kids get grades and get in shape and stuff like that. But this is the thing. We cannot do but so much. First of all, I'm going to tell you what we can't do, and then I'm going to tell you, but yet why you still need to put us in your children's lives, those of us who are not criminals ourselves. We can't do but so much. I mean, if you're going to have your children around people who have felonies, I can't protect the child from who lives in the house with them because they're in the house with them. You parents have got to make a decision to not let people in your house who already have a track record of doing stuff. Now, I know anybody can be deceived because there's certainly been times in parenting where I found out that I was actually being deceived. Okay, you can be deceived. But in a case like where the child was beaten to death with a hammer, the perpetrator was already a convicted felon. He already had a history of violence. Now, I know a lot of people want to go, oh, this system, it's beating us up. It's blocking our men up. Can we just admit that some of our men are in jail because they did something? If we can admit that some of our men are in jail and they didn't do something, or they're being over-punished, we should also be able to admit that some of our men are in jail, though, for doing something. So now, if you want to be on the kick of, I don't want to just write somebody off because they're a felon, most of us do. Most of us know that there's racism who are black, and we still write off people who are felons. You need to ask why and listen. And if it hits your gut the wrong way, that person shouldn't be around your kids. I don't care if they're male or female. There is nothing I could teach an 8-year-old that would prevent him being able to stop a man from beating him to death with a hammer unless that 8-year-old was my child. And even then, the probability is still low. And the only reason why I say that if it was my child, they would have a chance because that child would be living with me. And I can teach them anything whenever I want. Like my son, he's my number one student, but he's technically not my first student. but he's my best student. And I'm not just saying that because I love him, he's my son. No, because he's here all the time. He was my child. So if I wanted to do things that I thought a 2-year-old could pick up, I can do it without parental resistance. My wife didn't say, she was like, you think it's safe? Yeah. Okay. You say it's safe, I trust you. I can make him do push-ups and he's not crying and the big mean instructor man's oppressing me. No, he loved it. Yeah, okay. We playing push-ups. We playing karate game. I make a game out of it for him. I know enough to teach him. When I didn't feel like I knew enough to teach him, I dragged him along with me when I went to my teachers until my teachers gave me the blessing to teach, and then I took him over. So you would have to, the best you can do if you're not a martial artist yourself, is you're going to have to enroll the child in a toddler class and then constantly keep them in a toddler class. Possibly also have them in other sports where they can gain physical strength in order for them to remotely stand a chance against a man at 8 years old. And even then, I still wouldn't put my son in there against 21-year-old felon, violent felon. I'd still put money on violent felon. But you want to know how you can prevent violent felon from beating your child to death is with your decision making. Ladies, in particular, you have power in the relationships. You can decide who's going to be around your children. We're not in a police state. You can decide who's going to be around your children. Please choose people who are not going to hurt them. Now, that being said, where your children will still benefit, this is what we can do, will still benefit from a martial arts instructor's presence, is that is an authoritative person, even if we're not being drill instructors about it, who can influence your child's opinion. If you don't know about children, children do not like to listen to their parents, especially once they start going through puberty. But for some reason, they'll still listen to their instructor. And now, I'm talking about especially if you've got a boy and you don't have a man, that martial arts instructor, he cannot serve as a father. He can serve as a male figure because that's still male credibility. Just like little girls like to listen to women more than men. Innately, little boys like to listen to men more than women, unless they have seen all the women around them disrespect men, or the women around them tell them, you ain't got to listen to that man. He ain't your daddy, but he has no daddy. Those are the type of boys who will be giving me lip. Like I said, the kids were throwing stuff off the roof, playing with fire. They're males. I say something to them, they act like this is an alien presence. But if your child has some comfort with male authority figures, and you can figure that out by watching your child, you definitely need to get them in front of a martial arts teacher. I'll even go out on an offensive limb and say I would choose that over football. Yes, I said it. Over football. Because once you start getting into high school and college levels, it's money on the line. It's win-win-win at all costs. And you got football coaches that'll encourage kids to take steroids, cheat, and try to hurt people on the other team. Your martial arts instructor in the Americas, because there's not a lot of money in it, but a lot of us, we're not going to tell your child to take steroids and to deliberately hurt the other people. Now, what I've said is, if they're trying to hurt you, and this is when I say, only time I'll say, nail somebody in a sparring contest, be it taekwondo or judo. If they're trying to do something, you've told them stop verbally and non-verbally. The referee already told them to stop doing whatever they're doing. So you've said stop it. The ref said stop it. They still insist on trying to hurt you. Then you may have to pop them. Because a lot of times, if they're coming with too hard contact, the ref says stop, You look at them, you go, hey man, take it easy. And they go, ah, ha, you're weak. And then you, then they straighten up. But see, they're not harmed at the end of the day after that. The martial arts instructor or coach, just like with what I went through when I was a kid. Like, especially if you got a kid that's fighting, and it shouldn't be, coach can just say, teacher can just say, I don't approve of that. Of course, the child just like this, no, you don't understand that. Hey, I don't approve of that. No, I don't approve of that. It eventually sinks in. It takes time. It's not an overnight solution, but it eventually sinks in. I mean, because my instructors, even the one, well, I'm not going to put this business out there, but I had 2 sets of instructors, formal instructors in high school. Both of them, I had one, and I had the other, and they both pointed me in a positive direction. I'd say between that and what I call positive peer pressure. That is what your child can have, because if you have an instructor that's creating a positive environment, watch the classes. Don't just watch one class. Watch several classes, and if you can do like I suspect one parent is, I won't call out her name, but I think you were spying on a brother at a community center. But it was smart though. If you know who I'm talking about, what you did was smart. It was genius, because I would have never thought of that. She watched how I was treating this other child I had with me who was very similar to her child. I noticed she used to watch. This woman looked like she was spying on me or something. She watched how I interacted with other people's kids and watched the class. And then she brought her daughter in there and a friend of her daughter's. I'm still training her daughter. That was smart. I'm not offended by that. That's smart. That's what you have to do nowadays, because some people are so conniving. Man, they get in under the radar. The background check doesn't even catch some of these people because they get in under the radar. So, you parents, you can't, no amount of martial arts is going to protect a child that is prepubescent from a professional criminal. Okay? Your decision making needs to do that. And despite that, you still need to put your child in martial arts training if they are in critical need of a male role model, so that it's somebody that they're going to listen to who's sitting there and telling them, that's not acceptable. What you're doing is not acceptable. Don't talk to your mother that way. Because like it or not, men tend to want to follow other men. Boys tend to want to follow men. They don't like to follow women. Unless the boy has been totally alienated from his masculinity. And that's all I have to say. Peace.